Hey everybody, it's Strict 9 with Strict 9 GP, and welcome back to another episode of my Out of the Park 22 playthrough with the San Francisco Giants. So we're at the September 1st of the 2022 season, so my second season into this playthrough. We're at the point where we can call up players, but they changed the rules on that, so we're only going to be able to call up an additional 2 players, so it doesn't really give you a whole lot of benefit, but that's where I'm at. If you watched the last episode, you know that I ended it deliberating what I was going to do with this team. And really what I was deliberating was who and when I was going to trade and what I was going to get for them. But I did wind up shaking it up. I don't think the strategy I had of, those big name free agents, I don't think it's going to work. So I got rid of the 2 big pitchers, and then that freed up some positions for me to get rid of another player. And I don't know how it's going to turn out. I mean, this has been a very difficult playthrough so far because you start out, you have all that money to play with, and you think you're going to, at the very least, buy your way to being competitive. And I said it a lot last episode. It's one of those things that it's an object lesson because, especially my experience playing this game, but it happens in real life too, in the majors. A lot of times when you try to buy your way into being competitive or making the playoffs, it backfires. And it backfired big with this team. It really did. I don't know if I can turn them around now because I definitely can't turn them around soon because the contracts are just really messed up at this point. Luckily, I got rid of 2 of the big ones. We'll go over that pretty much right away in this episode. But there's some things here that are not good. So let's just get started with that. And I mentioned last time this is my manager home screen. Got a lot of widgets. It might look a little cluttered, but I like having a lot of information here. This is the default screen that comes up. One of the things that I really pay attention to is this team position rankings because you can see kind of where your strengths and weaknesses are as a team. You can always refer back to this if you're looking to go into the trading season, or even the off season free agency. It's good to see where you need to put your money or put the trades in, right? So right away, what sticks out, probably a few things here. Number 1, Freddie Freeman, he's 16th. So he's not even, he's in the lower half of all rated first basemen in the game. That's majors, national and American. He is a 2.5 star player. So that's the struggle sometimes. He is about a 2-win player right now that I'm paying $20 million for. And that's unfortunate, but that's the way it works. OSA, he's a 3-star player. At his age, he's about to be 33. I don't think he's going to turn it around. So I think against lefties, he's in a platoon situation. It really stinks. I hate. It's one of the things that you'll see in real life to a certain extent, but a lot of times what happens in major or in out of the park baseball, it's just abrupt. It's not a gradual decline. It's like, hey, the spring they're a 4-star player, June they're a 2.5 star player, and that can happen in real life, like I say. But I don't think you'll see it with a player of this guy's caliber. I don't think you're going to see him go from a 4.5 star player to a 2.5 star player in the matter of a few months when he hasn't been injured. There's no real catalyst, I guess, to get fancy with the term. There's no real reason why he should have dropped off that quick, but he did. So that was the gamble I took, and I mentioned that last time. He's a good fan favorite. He's good for the team. He's a fairly good defensive first baseman. That money was not that big of a deal when I signed him. I mean, I think he was worth it coming off a pretty down season, but he still had the production. 23 home runs, 95 RBIs, 86 walks. he is a mediocre, player right now. At least he's a mediocre starter, and that really, stinks. But again, that's what you have to live with when you play that style of baseball or management in this game. So the next thing you're probably going to see is Rafael Devers. So you would think with Freddie Freeman, the experience I've had with him, you would think I wouldn't go for it again, but here I have. I've done it again. The only thing is that Devers is a lot younger. I picked him up in a trade with Boston. I'll go over who were involved in those trades, but we're getting by with the pitching that we have, and that could be a good coach. I don't think it's the coaching. I just think it's the mix of pitching we have has been adequate to get us by. Even trading away the two big pitchers that we traded away, it's offense where we're struggling. So I saw him out there. Boston was willing to get rid of him. He's got 2 years this season and the next season where he's pretty generous contract-wise. So this guy gets into this team and starts turning it on. I'm like, hey, I can probably trade him away next year for a good value. And that's why I did this, really. I picked him up not expecting to keep him long-term, but expecting that I probably have a good trade, a player with a good trade value on this team, either in the offseason or next season. And then take a look at what he's done since he joined us. 29 games, 28 starts. He's hitting 189. He is a negative .2 wins above replacement. Ops plus at 63, OPS of 593. So at no point in this guy's career has he played this bad. And he started really, I guess it should have been a warning, but I think everything being considered is if you're using the ratings, especially on a young player like Devers, again, if he's not looking at a lot of injury proneness or something like that, a major injury that kept him out of the game for a year or so, he's usually going to play towards his ratings. But now, that's not happening. I mean, look at how this guy's rated both against righties and lefties. He should really be tearing it up. And that's my scout. He's even better from OSA. I think there, I might be jumping the gun here, but I think there might be something really going on with, I hate to say the coding or whatever, but there have been several patches that have come out since I started this series. I wouldn't rule it out. I wouldn't rule it out that I might have to start over to really get a true representation of some of these players. But we'll see how he turns out. I mean, if he turns it around, that's fine. I just can't imagine. I don't see the reason why he's hitting 189, why he's hitting this low. He's just going through a really bad slump. But his morale's good. It's really mystifying me, for sure. But yeah, I did trade for him. And then, Simmons, another guy who was just a complete bust because he got injured, and now his offensive ratings have gone down to the point where he's a liability, even more of a liability than he was as a player when I picked him up. So, you can see with the Angels, he had some decent offensive years. I expect getting into the mid-30s now, he's not going to have those kind of years, but I would have been happy with what he did last year offensively. This year, with the injuries and everything, he's struggling really bad. And I signed him to a 4-year contract. Not a lot of money, but I think I'm probably going to be on the hook for this guy. And fielding, it's good enough. If he stays healthy, that's going to make a difference. But he's rated pretty low, and so outside of those guys offensively, you got Miyazaki, who's top 10 center fielder. I think he's going to turn out to be a good player and a good pickup. But Mancini's going to be gone this year. Dustin May, that's a new one. He's my top rated pitcher right now. He was picked up in trade. So this was really just it was really just a warning to anybody who thinks that they can go out and buy a team. I think the odds are against you when you play it this way. I think the game itself. I wouldn't say, I'd be interested, if you guys want to put in your comments to see if you've had success this way. But I would be willing to bet that most of my success, probably 80% of my success through my history with this game, which is, like 20 years, is through, that hard-earned, traditional, build it up through the draft, build it up through your minor league system, build up your farm system way. I almost always blow out when I go the free agent route, regardless of the team I've been playing, regardless, the playthrough or the version, certainly the last few versions. My worst years are usually when I try to throw a lot of money out there. So I should have known, but hey, it was fun to try. And so now I'm just wanting to see, well, what can I do? I mean, there are some positives. We currently have the 4th rated minor league farm system, but that has a lot to do with Miyazaki is really rated high as a prospect, or he was. I think he's probably going to move off the prospect list, having started as much as he did this year. But let's take a look. First off, the record is, we're 19 games under 500, so not good. But let's take a look at those transactions, the trading, just to see how this went down. So we had two players that I was wanting to get rid of, and the first one was Trevor Bauer. So I went with a young pitcher, Dustin May. This guy is just now getting into his arbitration years. He's not having a great season, but you guys, if you know Dustin May in real life, I feel like he can. I think his time is now in terms of putting him in the starting rotation. He's probably not going to get that in Los Angeles. So I picked him up, put him in the starting rotation, and in 6 starts, 2.10 ERA, whip below 1. I mean, he's looked really good. So in some respects, I think that was a good trade. Look at the salary difference. I mean, you're looking $29.5 million and potentially $2. I think Dustin May's probably going to wind up getting a little bit more than $2 million next year. But that's fine with me, I think. So one thing to note here, though, we were 42-56 when we made that trade. So we have been playing maybe a little bit better pace for what it's worth. We're 12 and what is that record? 12-17 since that trade. So I don't know. It's probably about even. But then the next one I wanted to move on from was Syndergaard. Syndergaard has been injured, and I think he's going to be probably injury prone. He's injured again after going to Boston. So he's the guy I traded to get Devers, and I think that's a pretty good trade too. I know you may say I'm crazy, but Devers has 5 years on Syndergaard for the most part, close to 5 years. His contract in the next 2 seasons, isn't too bad, or at least through the 2023 season. I'm talking about Devers here, but yeah, if Devers does start falling apart, you're on the hook for a lot of time. But I really hope that either in September, the rest of this season, or into next season, he's going to start showing performance like he used to, and then I'll make the determination. Then, if we start winning with him playing good, that's fine. Or maybe I'll try to trade him just like I traded Bowers and Syndergaard. But then that freed me up to kind of move on from Tommy LaStella, who's going to be a free agent this year, or after the season. Now, when we traded for him, wrong one, sorry. I was looking at, here we go. So when we traded for these guys, it was the same day. I think it was like 2 or 3 days left. It should tell me here. I guess it's maybe 7/29. So it was right at the trading deadline. So I just threw Tommy LaStella out there. He's going to be going to free agency. He's probably going to, not going to get me much. And, he's 2.5 star. I had him playing third, and his defense is not that great at third. And of course, now picking up Devers, I don't need him. So I just threw him out there to see what I could get. And Garrett came up. I'm really struggling at closing. And I decided, to pick him up and throw him out there and see what happens. Because I think, he's got the stuff and he's got 3 strong pitches. I don't know. I feel like his contract's pretty generous. He's still under arbitration. So I think that he's a good bullpen piece, even though in real life and even here a little bit, he can be kind of erratic. His numbers can be all over the place. He can go from being dominant to just being hammered. I get that. But he's been, I think, adequate since he picked him up. He's positive wins above replacement, 6 saves. We'll see how he plays out. But, that was just one of those things where the trading I did with Syndergaard for Devers freed up that spot. So, in the end, not a lot of movement, and I wasn't able to get rid of Freeman, which I don't foresee that being possible now. I do think I'm going to have to eat his contract. And to be honest, he's gone down since then. So when I was looking at this guy in July, he was actually starting to hit a little bit better. And I had reason, especially in June, I had reason to hope that he was getting things back on track. But the only thing I can hope for now is that one thing I have seen before, it doesn't happen a lot, but one thing I have seen before is sometimes those ratings fluctuate to the point where a guy can take a hit in the ratings and then turn right back around and pick him back up. So the next, I think it's going to be October when we see the next player development report. So let's see how it goes. Now for the 2 players I'm allowed to bring up, I'm looking at Ramos here, and I'm going to give him some starting time. Mancini has just priced himself out of the ballpark, really, with the season that he had, which has been really probably all things considered, the best signing I made. I know I keep talking about the center fielder Miyazaki, but in terms of just this season, Mancini was the best pickup I had. And I can't remember. I think I signed him, as a free agent in the offseason, and, 1.7 million, and he's a 3 point, almost a 4 wins above replacement player, just been really solid. But I don't like his defense that much. He is 30 years old. He's wanting, mid-teens. I might could get him a little bit lower than that, but I just think that's out of my price range for him at the moment. So I'm going to see if Ramos, who's been one of my biggest prospects here at times, I think looking at him in the past, when he was 17, I think he had just a great start in that rookie league. Got some injury problems going on in 2019, I think. And then 2021, he had a good season there, 5 wins above replacement. If you look at his history, he has his awards, he's been Players of the Week, Batter of the Month, Platinum Stick Award. He was the most valuable player in 2021 at AA. So I feel like he's hopefully got some upside, but if he gets some play time, maybe his ratings will start going up. And then I'm just waiting for Sheffield, who's finally off of injured list. He is on, at the moment, he's on a rehab assignment. I'm going to give him a couple starts, and then I'm going to put him in. So I'm saving that slot for him. I don't see anybody else I want to move up. I want to go a little bit slow on Luciano and Bishop. Now, Luciano, he's who I've been figuring is going to be the future third baseman. So, I still think that Devers is trade value is the biggest thing I'm hoping to get from Devers. So let's get started and sim through the rest of the season. Hopefully it won't take too long. We're at Arizona to start, and we're coming off we won the first 2 games of this series. A sweep would be nice, but we lose 5-10. Santos is another guy that I even took a look at. He is one of the only three pitchers that are on that top 100. I called him up early when we got a lot of injuries. I'm leaving him at Sacramento for now, but he's got hopefully a chance to at least see some pitching time in the spring. So Gray, man, I'm not gonna, I kept Gray on here, didn't trade him. He has had a terrible year. I mean, his record should be better. He's 3-14. It shouldn't be that bad, but he hasn't really shown me a whole lot. And that team option, I'm going to have to really think long and hard whether I'm going to keep him. It's going to depend on if we really bring anybody in, I think, early. So now 3 games at home against Colorado. We lose the first one 2-3, and Mancini is out, or he's injured. Devers had a couple hits in this one, so he's now hitting above 200 for us. Joey Bart kind of continues to look okay. He's a 4-star player now. That's good. Webb, not a good outing. Matzik, another guy I picked up. He has been really dominant since I got him. He's a lefty, another lefty, with amazing stuff. 2 really good, highly rated pitches, fastball and slider. I don't know what his future is going to be. The guy's 31. I picked him up off waivers when we needed help. Don't see a long-term future with him, but he's had a good run with us. Game 2 against Colorado, 1-2. I mean, this is where we're at. We just have no offense to speak of. Devers, a couple hits here. I'm hoping that he's picking it up. Freeman, though, is just falling off the map. He's, this guy is probably, I think he's going to be really relegated to, at the very most, and it was a good outing from Beck while I'm looking at it. I think Freeman next year, unless he just gets completely worse, I may have to eat his contract. So 2-1 to finish up at Colorado. Devers, 2 for 4. Man, I hope he starts hitting. That would be good, because at least I would feel a little bit better about that. May gets his first win for us. That's how it's gone. This guy's 7 starts has looked phenomenal. That was his first win. Garrett got a 7 save. And looking at the news, Stars of the Week, Bobby Witt Jr., Jake Cave. And then power rankings, I don't know how we're not lower, but we're 21st. So looks like we actually had a worse week. We were 2 and 4 that week. No, sorry, we were 3 and 3. So we're 21 games below 500. So let's go up against New York, and I want to check Sheffield too. Has he gotten his? He needs one more start, if they are still playing. So let me double check on that. Sacramento schedule, they are still playing. The minors are really screwed up. I got to figure out a way to fix that. So we lose the first one 5-0. Mancini played hurt, but just 4 hits. I don't understand the offense right now. And Elledge, I didn't mention him, but he's a guy I'm hoping to really, I think he's got some upside as potentially a closer. He's just 26. But with all the injuries, I said, you know what? He's rated as a starter. I know his stamina's not good. Let's just see what he gives me. And as a starter, 6 games, he is 2-1 with a 215. I mean, he's looked really good as a starter. So, and that was across Sacramento as well, because what led me to do it in the first place, I sent him to Sacramento and they started him, and I was like, well, is that worth trying? And he's had a pretty decent August and September. Well, that was his first September start, but I still want to put him back in the bullpen. So Bryce Harper is 300th home run in this playthrough. Game 2 against New York, 5-9. Freeman had a couple hits as I averaged those back below 250. Merrifield, Dickerson, Blankenhorn. This is why it leads me to think, something's just a little off, and I can't figure out what it is. With this guy's ratings, if you've played this game in the past, especially look at his splits. My scout has him 60, 60, 55, 55. The only thing he struggles at with he's even rated even higher against right-handed pitchers from OSA. Look at his splits. He's hitting 167 against righties, which is lower than what he's doing against lefties. I know one of my viewers commented that he had the same experience with Blankenhorn, but that's just odd. I'm starting to, I'm starting to think there might be something more going on with this under the hood with this playthrough, with all the all the fixes and things, and that is one of the considerations you have to make when you play, and we lose 1-7. Sometimes it's best to wait until they get all those patches out there before you get a long-term playthrough going. I don't think this team should be this poor, and I'm going to take a look at it. I was wanting to do it last week. This is what we're talking about. 14th in runs scored, on base percentage of 309. That just seems really, really low for the way this team is rated. And then on the flip side, pitching, that really seems high to me based on the way this team's rated. Because at the moment, Gray, who's pitched terribly, really, he's the only highly rated pitcher on there. Dustin May, you could say he's good enough to be maybe a mid-rotation starter, and he's got good numbers. But it's hard to believe some of these guys, with the way they're rated, are putting up the numbers they are. Like Sherfy, he's a 2-star pitcher from my scout with really poor movement and control. He was an all-star this year. Has really put up decent numbers, good numbers. His ratings, though, are better from OSA, so maybe that's where the difference comes in. I don't know. But if I look at the personnel, my pitching coach is average, but DeMonte, it's probably time to get rid of him too. But he's listed at legendary, on teaching hitting. So I don't. And yeah, we do have a lot of. I would think he favors veterans. I would think we have a lot of veterans. So I don't know. There's just some things that I wish I could tell what the thing is. And I know Antoine Richardson, one of my viewers pointed out that he has a legendary catching, defense, infield defense, outfield defense ratings, but he never played catcher. So, that could be just one of those things where the ratings are random and, that you're getting what you get from them. But if DeMonte, you would think he handles development, influences mechanics, teach hitting. Those are all highly rated. You would think he would be able to get something from this team, but it's just not happening. All right, I guess enough sour grapes, which is, it's probably what it is, but I do think that it's really hard to manage a team, and I want Sheffield to get one more start. He's probably due to start quick. It's hard to manage a team when things don't match up the way you think they should. And so that's just the struggle I've had. Freeman, that just happens. A guy ages before his time and he starts losing ratings. But you can't tell me Devers, with a 75 contact and all that power and all that highly rating, that he's like a 216 hitter. Man, that just doesn't. That just doesn't make sense to me. Beck is pitching pretty well. I think that's 2 good starts in a row from him. Garrett blew up here. And then Los Angeles, game 2, we won 2-1. We are definitely having to win with pitching, though. Freeman gets a pinch hit home run, looks like. Miyazaki, 6 Ks and 7 at-bats. I haven't been paying attention to his strikeouts. They're pretty high. I have been doing some platooning with him against lefties. Pitching-wise, May, hard luck loser again. 6 innings, no runs, and he can't get the decision. That sucks. But, if you take it top to bottom, we're getting a lot of good play from the pitching, especially the bullpen. So I'm going to bring up Sheffield and swap him out with Elledge and let Elledge probably get back to setting up 7th or later. And let's see, any big things here. Trevor Bauer, who I traded, oddly enough, to the Dodgers, I guess. He's out for 7 weeks. I think I dodged a bullet being able to trade him away. I don't know if May is going to really... he's probably not going to ever put up any numbers like May did in 2020. Or, sorry, like Bauer did in 2020. But, you get unlucky sometimes with those free agent signings. Hey, we win the last game. Was that a 4-game series? No, we had a good series there. So that gets us back. We're under 20 games now, below 500. Joey Bart, 2 for 3. His average now up to over 250. Freeman, Devers, hitless. Is Devers, does he like pitching, playing in a different spot? So 4th, 2nd. He struggles for sure batting 3rd. But that's, I think, because he's been with us. I'll try that, what the heck. Let's try moving Devers. Well, he is 4th. So, and I tell you, against lefties, that's really probably not the optimum there. Freeman in that 4th spot. Somebody like, I don't know, he's not that much. I'm just going to ride it out at this point. But Players of the Week, Chris Bryant, he's with Toronto now. And Swaggerty from Pittsburgh. And then Power Rankings, we moved up a little bit, didn't we? Nope, still 23rd. And then got some awards here. Baroa, Pitcher of the Year down there in the Arizona League, one of the Arizona leagues. And so we're going to be playing Chicago for 4 games. And this is the Cubs on the road. We win the first one 6-2. Miyazaki and Mancini a couple hits. Merrifield looked pretty good there. Simmons 2 for 4. So for what it's worth, his average is up over 250 for the season. Logan Webb didn't last long enough to get the decision. Then game 2, 5-6, tough loss. 3 hits from Devers. For the month, of September, he's hitting over 300. Dickerson, a couple walks. He's somebody, if I look at, it's generous what he's wanting, but he has just really not been that great. His numbers look pretty decent last year, but this year he's really struggled. And then pitching wise, Beck didn't have a great outing. Bullpen though picked up the win. Or no, they didn't. That was a loss. Sorry. Then we dominate 9-1 in game 3. So this is another series we're either gonna, or at least gonna split. Good offense here. Merrifield a couple of hits. Freeman, did he get a home run here? No, but he did drive in a run. Uh, Ramos, I'm not seeing much from him so far. You can see his OPS is low. He strikes out a lot and hasn't really picked up a lot of walks. Miyazaki, pretty good outing from him, and this was Sheffield's first start since he came back. So 10 wins. He's been one of our more dependable starters, even with the injury. So we win 3 of 4 from Chicago. Not bad. So we're at 61 and 80. I keep messing up our record, whether we're 20 games over or 20 under. So this was a good outing from May, man. He's looked really good so far. So players of the week. Well, we got some other, Cavadas all the way down there in the fall league, or Arizona league. I thought that was the fall league, but it's just the rookie league. They've been playing in the summer, and you guys may know if you want to comment, and let me know in the comments. But I guess this is either that's correct or this is just a hangover from that 2020 season where the minors are kind of screwed up with schedule. But I've had a lot of more so in this version than even across multiple playthroughs. I'm seeing that the minors, the ratings, it's hard to get a feel for who's going to make it as a good player or not. I mean, this guy's contact is way down here low. And what league is he in? Rookie league? Yeah, I mean, he's rated pretty high for that league, so I guess it should be that could happen. But this guy's really not much of a prospect for the majors, and he just dominated. I mean, that was an incredible season to have down there. So it's one of the things I think you have to really pay attention to. You may have guys who are just putting up numbers that don't match their ratings. You go to look at how your scout has them based on the league they're in and maybe a league above, and you might want to take a gamble and move them up quicker. All right, so now we're going to go up against Arizona at home, 3 games. I would hope we keep winning here and end on a high note. Another good win, 9-1. Mancini, Devers, Bart look pretty good. Miyazaki, even though his average is, looking at his game log, he has 2 hits in several games, so I think he's bringing his average up a little bit as we go along. But on the pitching side, Sonny Gray finally got the win here. It's just his 5th of the season. Game 2, we win 5-2. Another good solid game. Merrifield 2 for 4. He's going to be back next year. Hopefully he's healthy. I am going to exercise that option. I think he's valuable to have, whether you have him as a starter or not. Miyazaki continues to hit 3 hits here. Drove in a couple. Logan Webb gets his 7th win. No runs from the bullpen there. And then game 3, we lose 4-7, and Elledge is hurt. Dang. Mancini continues to play well. I'm going to miss his numbers, but I'm hoping that I can get that somewhere else, either from some of the prospects we have or somewhere else, because I just can't afford paying him $17-18 million a year. So Beck was really shelled in this game, and now I really don't want to lose Elledge, but I guess you got to do what you got to do. Put him on the injured list, and that does free up space there for me to bring up maybe. I think since I've already brought him up, I think I'm going to bring up Santos again and just put him in. Is he worth starting over Beck? I think his potential is better, but let's just go long relief from him. And I'm going to put him as the emergency starter. All right, so we did win 2 of 3, though, from Arizona. Now we got San Diego. Take a look at how the Players of the Week went. Madrigal, Mancini, that's how he's been playing. We've got some Eugene. Like I say, we get a lot of notice from these players in the minors. So I'm hoping that, if nothing else, maybe our prospects are picking up. So let's keep it going here. I want to get through this season. 3-2 win over San Diego. I mean, this is the best we've looked in a long time. Sheffield picks up his second win since he came off the DL or IL. And we win game 2, so we've won another series. That's 3 series in a row that we've won. Merrifield, 3 hits. He's trying to get to 300 for the year. Freeman and Devers still just, tanking. Freeman for the month is hitting 159. I mean, that's just insane. I feel like this is a guy I'm going to have to eat his contract. I don't think there's a way to salvage him the way his ratings have dived. May, his worst outing since he joined us, but bullpen able to hang on and win it. Can we sweep San Diego? No, we lose 2-0. Freeman had a hit. Finally, Blankenhorn had a hit. Gray pitched really well in this game. Didn't get the win. He's looked okay in September. So now we're probably looking at, No. So now we're going to be on the road against Cincinnati. Their record about close to where we're at. I'd like to keep winning these series, though. We lose the first one 2-6. Freeman 3 hits. Devers a hit, so that's good. Bart, he continues to hit. Looking good. And then Webb just got really hammered. And, he's a guy who's probably going to be around next year. And then 8-4 in the second game. Devers drove in 4. Freeman got a couple walks. Bart again 3 for 3. Drove in 2 walks. So he was 5 for 5 on base in this game. And then Ramos may have gotten his first career home run, first major league home run. Beck looks good again. I really wish these would translate into ratings improvements, but as I've seen as I keep going through this season, I don't know if those ratings really matter much anymore. All right, so game 3, can we win this series? No, 4-7. That's the first series we've lost in a while. Sheffield, worst outing since he came off the injured list. Trey Mancini, he really wants to stay here. But I just, $16 million, I can't really do that right now. Players of the Week, Biggio and Bellinger. Just want to get through these. So we're at 22 in power rankings. Then we're playing Colorado and then San Diego on the road this week. We beat Colorado 6-3 to start the series. A couple hits from Mancini and Freeman and Simmons. Simmons is hitting 267, so his offense has been a lot better than I was expecting. May gets his 3rd win with us. Game 2, we win 2-1, but we lose Sonny Gray. It's moderate, but I don't really want to risk it whether I'm bringing him back or not. So I'm just, I'm going to put it in. And I can see already his ratings have dived. There's no way I'm going to exercise that option on him. It kind of sucks because it feels like we're just starting over now in the second season. And I really was hoping that we would have a better look than that. I want to put Sheffield's pitch count off. Keep Santos down to 85. I mean, it's generous. Game 3, we win, so we sweep Colorado on the road. Freeman 3 hits, Mancini 3 hits. You got to explain to me how Devers is hitting 196 with those ratings. I don't know how that happens. It just doesn't seem. Anything's doable, but sooner or later, surely this guy's going to start hitting. So we lose to San Diego to start this new series, 1-5. Again, poor hitting. Sheffield, not a bad outing from him, really. So Wilmer Flores. It's too late, man. He's complaining about being in the starting lineup. He's gone after this year. So Dustin May improved his ratings. His movement went up a little bit. So he's going to be not a number one, but he's going to be, I think, valuable next year. This guy, Maxick, he put up some good numbers, but it's just completely random, I think. Sonny Gray, no. And look at this, man. Freddie Freeman. I'm gonna have to cut this guy. I mean, there's no question I'm gonna have to cut this guy. Look at that. How do you let me know? I know I've seen this before, and I've seen it with other versions, so it's not that it's completely random or it's completely impossible. It's not. But man, I just don't see that. And at this moment, I'm trusting my scout more than OSA on his ratings because his numbers kind of prove it out. But man, that is really hardcore to have that happen. And you're not going to really recover from that. You're just not going to recover from a guy that you just signed to that big of a contract, going from superstar to really somebody that you probably shouldn't even start. And it's another thing. Another thing on me. You can easily say this. For me, he gave me the proof last year. Really, I mean, take a look at his line from last year to this year. 247 average. Strikeouts were worse last year. He could potentially get close in terms of, he might be a little bit better on base. So again, it's a gamble that you take, and I took it, and it smacked me in the face. Hunter Bishop is improving, though. That's good to hear. But I'm a conservative player, but when it comes to a situation like this, I don't like holding on to players when their ratings dive. I mean, I think it's best you get a replacement in there. If you find somebody who's a better player, eat that contract and just move on. Because, a guy like this, even though he's got he's a fan favorite, if his numbers aren't there or his ratings aren't going to produce, your best bet is to move on. And I'm seeing, like some good movement down low in the low minors, but at least the Dustin May was positive. All right, batters of the month, Bryce Harper and Michael Confortos with Houston. Pitchers, Shane Bieber having a great year, Spencer Howard. And rookies, Blake Rutherford and Ortiz. So let's finish out this season. We got one more week at San Diego. We lose 4-7. Freeman had a couple hits. I'm tempted to really just trade him because I don't trust he's going to give me much after what he's doing here when it comes to Devers. But swept on the road there against San Diego. Devers hitting 195. I mean, the team, we had 2 hits. 2 hits in that game. Look at the team stats now. I mean, we had a good September, 15-12. Moved up some in some of the standings when it comes to, or the rankings when it comes to the offense, but those numbers are pretty low. And now I'm going to take a look at the standings before we end the episode. So we got Arizona, St. Louis at home to end. Not a bad way to end, but we lose 2-5, so we're now down almost 20 games below 500 again. Santos only getting 4 1/3 innings in that one. We lose 4-5. Just going to cycle through these quickly. 3-9, Edledge recovery unclear. 5-6, so we're gonna tank. We're gonna end up looking really bad. Mancini, another good game from him, but his average down there to below 300. We lose 1-3, and we end on a high note. We win last game of the year to get to 70 wins, back to back. I think 70 and 92 seasons, but wow. Santos got his first career win. All right, so that's how this one's going to end. We're really up against it. Sonny Gray suffers a setback. He wants out anyway, and I'm not gonna keep him. So we look at the standings. Toronto wins in the East. Yankees not even in it. Chicago, Cleveland, man, a really tight American League Central. Minnesota just misses. And then pretty competitive Angels and Astros in the West. Guerrero on the top average list, but hey, Michael Brantley with the Angels. 336 between Houston and the Angels. Sano hits 50 plus. Tim Anderson, Ramirez, they're probably going to compete for the MVP. Bieber might be odds on, almost just 9 strikeouts away from being a triple crown as a pitcher. 8 points, 8 plus 3 wins above replacement. And the National League Braves cruise 104 and 58. New York 92 and 70. Cardinals in barely 84 and 78, and then Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks 97-65. They get in there. Be interesting to see how well they do. And then individually, McNeil leads in average. Acuna in home runs. Austin Riley right behind him. Wins above replacement. Man, that's going to be close between Albies and Acuna. I would probably give it to Acuna just because he's winning them all at the moment. He hasn't yet won one in this playthrough, but in the Phillies playthrough, I think he's up to 3 MVPs right now. We had no players showing up in the top 3 leaderboards, which is not that big of a surprise. Castillo from Cincinnati might be a good bet to win the Cy Young. So that's the way it ends. And for us, I wanted to check if that's no, we were better last year. So that's how it works. Look at the average. I mean, we improved in ERA, but the average, there's no question that Freddie Freeman was a dud, and one of the worst luck signings I've had with this game in a long time. I mean, this guy, he wasn't a sure bet. Like I say, I probably should have paid a little bit more attention and took that at face value that 2021 season was where he was, but his ratings weren't there. I mean, his ratings were still 4 or above, right, when I picked him up, and he was rated to just in the blue in some cases in individual ratings. So his ratings and ability just hit the cliff this year. So luckily I didn't sign him for longer than I did. So, and that's a player option that last year. So that's $80 million. That more than likely, and I might even decide by next season that I'm going to have to eat. Front office wise, Salary is 104, so we're going to have to hope that some of these guys who keep performing in the minors perform when I'm able to call them up. Because what I thought was going to be a rebuild, like you just buy a bunch of great players, has turned out to be the typical rebuild that you go through this game. You're going to have to build it up through the draft and through your minors. But if you have any different take on that, let me know in the comments. I'd like to hear from you guys, see what you would do, or see what you think about this team or the signings I made. I just think it was risky, and I got bit. I think the pitching, I could have managed it with Bauer and Syndergaard for a couple more years, but with Freeman not being that guy I thought was going to anchor that lineup for 2 years, I didn't think he was going to do it for the full 5 years of his contract, but I really thought he would be productive for another 2 years, like all-star level production. With that not happening, the pitching really wasn't going to help me the way it should have. But that'll do it for this year, for this season, this episode. I'm going to go through the awards and come back next episode right when free agency started, and we'll see if there's some things we can do this offseason that make a difference and get us back competing. Or actually, with this team, get us competing. But thanks for watching. I'll see you next episode.